For about 6 years, I ate 2 eggs every morning without once asking myself why. It was not a decision. It was just what happened while the kettle boiled. Then a jar of peanut butter turned up in the cupboard for the grandkids, and on the mornings I could not face standing at a pan, I had that on toast instead. And I noticed something I was not expecting. So I did the boring thing about it. Eggs every morning for a month. Peanut butter every morning for the month after. Same kitchen, same hour, same everything else. I was not weighing myself, and I was not counting anything. I watched 3 ordinary things. What each one asked of me at 7 in the morning, before I had properly woken up. Which one actually held me until lunch. And which one my body seemed to do the most with afterwards. No miracle cures, no scare stories, nothing to buy. Just what's actually true. The verdict comes at the end, and it is not the one I would have given you before I started. One of them won the first 2. It lost the one that turned out to matter most. Maybe you've noticed you eat the same thing every morning now, and not because you particularly love it. Maybe deciding anything at 7 in the morning got harder. So at some point, you quietly stopped deciding. Maybe you've caught yourself eating standing up because sitting down for breakfast started to feel like a production. I know. All 3 of those are mine. I thought that was just age. It wasn't. What it asks of you at 7 in the morning, the pan, the plate, and the part nobody mentions. This is the one I would have called irrelevant 10 years ago, and it turned out to decide almost everything. An egg is not difficult. I want to be fair about that. But an egg is a small job. The pan comes out. You wait for it to come up to heat, and you stand there while it does because you cannot walk away from a pan. Then there is a plate and a fork, and the pan itself with egg welded to it if you left it 30 seconds too long, which I always did. Call it 8 minutes from cupboard to sitting down, and 4 of those minutes are standing. Peanut butter is a knife. Bread in the toaster, walk away, come back, 1 knife to wash. 2 minutes, none of it standing over anything. On a good morning, that difference is genuinely nothing, and I would rather say that plainly than pretend otherwise. Here is what I actually found, though. On the egg month, I skipped breakfast entirely 11 times. 11 mornings out of 31, I looked at the pan, decided I could not face the small job, and had tea and nothing else until 1 o'clock. On the peanut butter month, I skipped it twice. I had been telling myself for years that I was a man who ate a proper breakfast. What was true is that I was a man who ate a proper breakfast on the mornings he had the energy to make one, and I had stopped noticing how often that was not the case. The best breakfast in the world does nothing at all on the mornings it does not get made. That is not a nutrition point, it is an honesty point. And it is why this one goes first. So on effort, peanut butter takes it, and it is not close. The question is, what that convenience is buying, and what it might quietly be costing, whether it actually holds you. The 11:30 problem, and what I got wrong about it. I have a simple measure for this, and I suspect you have your own. It is what time I start thinking about lunch, not eating it, thinking about it. On the egg mornings, that thought turned up around 11:30. On the peanut butter mornings, it did not turn up until 12:30, and some days not until I sat down to eat. That surprised me, and I went looking for why, and the answer is duller than I hoped. Peanut butter is heavier food. There is more in 2 spoonfuls than there is in 2 eggs, and it sits with you longer because of the fat in it. It is not a trick, and it is not special. It is just denser, and dense food stays. Now the part I got wrong, because I want to be straight about it rather than tidy. For the first fortnight, I read that as peanut butter simply being better, and I was quietly pleased because it was also the easy one. Then I paid closer attention to what the eggs were doing. On the egg mornings, I was not full for as long, but I was not really wanting anything either. I was just a bit empty by noon and fine about it. On the peanut butter mornings, I was full for longer and then very suddenly not. And when it went properly. So the honest version is this. Peanut butter held me further into the day. Eggs held me more evenly across it. By the clock, which is what I said I was measuring, peanut butter wins this one too. That is 2 out of 2, and at this point in the 2 months, I had more or less made my mind up. Then the third thing turned up, and it was the one I had not thought to look at. What your body can actually use. The difference that does not show up anywhere you can feel it. This is the dimension that changed the verdict, and I would have skipped it entirely if I had trusted how I felt. Both of these are protein. That much is true, and nobody argues about it. But protein is not one single thing, and the two of them are not interchangeable. An egg gives your body the complete set of what it needs to build with, all of it in the right proportions, nothing missing. Peanut butter gives you most of the set and runs short on one part of it. It is still real food, and it is still doing you good. It is just not the full kit. I am not going to explain the mechanism to you, partly because you did not come here for that, and partly because I would only be repeating something I read. What matters is the practical end of it, and after 60, the practical end matters more than it used to. Building and holding muscle gets harder with the years. Everybody past 55 has felt some version of that. The body gets fussier about what it will work with, and the closer the food is to the full set, the less it wastes. Here is the confession, and it is the one that changed how I eat now. I felt better on the peanut butter month, genuinely. Easier mornings, fewer skipped breakfasts, less faffing about, and when I got to the end of the 2 months and sat down and thought about it properly, I realized feeling better in the morning had told me almost nothing about the thing I actually care about, which is being able to carry a full shopping bag up the stairs at 75. That is not something you feel on a Tuesday. It is something you find out about years later. Eggs take this one clearly, and it is the only one they take. The honest part, nothing here works quickly, and I would rather say so than sell you something. The effort difference you will notice tomorrow, because that one is immediate. Whether something holds you until lunch, you will know inside a week. The third thing, the one about what your body builds with, does not announce itself at all. It works on the scale of years, and you will never have a morning where you feel it happen. That is genuinely frustrating, and it is also why it is the easy one to ignore. What neither of these fixes is the tiredness that made you stop cooking breakfast in the first place. Food is not the answer to that on its own. And some of this is just a body that has done 60-odd years of work. It might just be your age, and that's allowed. I have stopped treating every change as a problem with a solution attached. The verdict. It depends, and I am going to be specific about what it depends on rather than leaving it there. If the choice is eggs or peanut butter, eggs are the better food. That is not close either, but that is almost never the real choice. The real choice, on a Tuesday in February, when you did not sleep well, is eggs or nothing. And on that morning, peanut butter is not the worst option. It is the only one that is going to happen. So this is what I do now. And it took 2 months to work out something that sounds obvious written down. Eggs are the ceiling. Peanut butter is the floor. On the mornings I have it in me, I stand at the pan. On the mornings I do not, I reach for the knife, and I do not treat it as a failure. Because 11 skipped breakfasts taught me what the alternative actually was. I stopped asking which one is better. I started asking which one is going to get eaten. So, the 3 of them. On what it asks of you at 7 in the morning, peanut butter, easily. On whether it holds you to lunch, peanut butter by the clock, eggs more evenly. On what your body can actually build with, eggs. And that is the one that quietly matters most. Neither of them costs much, and neither of them is something you have to go looking for. They are both already in most kitchens, which is the part I like about this one. I am not telling you to change anything tomorrow. I am telling you that the morning I stopped judging myself for the easy breakfast was the morning I stopped skipping breakfast altogether. And that has done more for me than either jar or carton ever did on its own. If you have your own version of this, put it in the comments. I read every single one. Here is to the healthy living years.